Hey guys, this is Adrian Clark here with another tutorial. I hope you don't mind that my two pugs are barking in the background. Hopefully that doesn't come through too much in the audio. This tutorial won't be so much about any program in Windows in particular. This will be about Windows 7 as a whole, actually. And in particular for that, this will be about learning how to use some of the accessibility features that Microsoft gives us in Windows 7 to make computing a lot more of an easy experience, more effective and enjoyable, and definitely more easy. This is useful if you have, if you're working with someone who has a visual handicap, they can't see as well, they can't hear as well. Maybe they have a physical ailment that doesn't allow them to use a computer as well as they'd like to. And these accessibility features definitely help with that. They make it easier, at least in Windows 7, to jump in using computing and to get your feet wet and to actually learn that computers can be fun and computers can be easy and enjoyable to use. And actually, they're going to be able to do what we want to do. We're going to be able to do exactly what we want to do with a computer, and we're not going to be tied back with some things. For this tutorial, we're going to learn where the ease of access center is. And this is ease of access will kind of be the base where all the accessibility tools are that we can use to make computing more enjoyable. We're going to use the magnifier to zoom in on parts of the screen so we can actually see things better and larger. We're going to use the narrator to talk back to us and give us some audio feedback as to what we're typing or what we're doing on the screen. If we type a letter, the narrator will say each letter, so we know that we're typing accurately. We can then use the on-screen keyboard to actually type with our mouse. And this is even useful if for some reason your keyboard doesn't work or you forget it somewhere. We can actually use our mouse to bring up an on-screen keyboard, and we can type with the same functionality as a normal keyboard. It won't be as fast, obviously, but it is possible, and we can actually maybe get good at it if we want to. And it is there for us to use. We can also use the control panel itself. And the control panel is, where you change your backgrounds and font and themes and stuff. But for this, we're going to actually use it to make our fonts larger. So some of us who can't see some of that small font will be able to see it with a larger font. Now, this tutorial might be a little bit meta. It's a video where I'm trying to teach people how to use computers. But I want to make it so everybody has the possibility to use a computer. And I want to make it so no one's actually afraid of jumping in and starting. I was born in 1990s. I was born in a time where computers were kind of almost ubiquitous in every home. I had a computer in my house. The internet was there when I was like 4 or 5. So I kind of grew up just knowing how to use it kind of intuitively. I knew how to get stuff done. I knew how to use programs. I knew how to, work around the internet. But for some people, that's not going to be as apparent or intuitive. Some people pick up computing later on in their life, or they didn't have the option to get exposed to it earlier, or they have, a visual handicap or something else that's kind of discouraging them from trying. And these accessibility features will help kind of dispel that and make it so we know that anyone can use a computer, because computers are for everyone. Everybody should have the ability to enjoy and use a computer effectively. So without further ado, let's jump out of this PowerPoint and let's jump into actually looking and playing with the operating system. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to start by clicking on Start Magnifier. And when I click on that, obviously we can see it automatically just zooms us in. And then I can move around the screen by just dragging my mouse to any side and moving down like this. And this is easy because it gives us just a little bit larger things to work with. We can see things a little bit more clear. I can click on that again. That'll bring up the option to either zoom in or zoom out. And then when I'm happy, when I can see what I want, I can just click on that X, and that should bring me back out to the normal display setting. And that is really as simple as magnifying gets, but it's very handy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the narrator. In my case, the narrator has a female voice. And we can hover over this, and you can see that she will read aloud all the text on the screen. And that goes for any window you have open or anything you're typing. Now, when we initialize her, she will actually open up a window and she will say everything in that window. In order to make this video a little shorter and to spare you guys from having to hear her, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to open up Narrator, and then I'm going to open up WordPad, which is a free little text editing software that Windows has. And I'm going to start typing from there. As we can see here that she will type everything that we're saying. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll go from there. Alright, now I will open up the narrator and we'll see what happens.
Initial narrator reads aloud text on the screen. Tool tip. Microsoft Narrator window. Focused on Quick Help button. Contains narrator will read aloud what is on screen as you navigate using the keyboard. Main narrator.
You can see here that she's reading everything on this window. So I'm here and I've opened up Notepad. Notice she's not reading the window anymore. She's not reading anything around this window just because I have the cursor in a text field. So she's actually waiting for my input to know what to say. So I will just start typing.
A, B, C, D, E, F, Shift, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Enter, enter.
Notice that my dogs have woken up again and they will start talking to us. But yeah, this is basically the functionality of Narrator. She will read out anything that we have on the screen and anything that we're typing when we are typing.
Shift L-E-T, single S, space, G-O, shift, exclamation point.
So the next thing that I want to look on is the on-screen keyboard. And this is a good tool because if for every reason we don't have a keyboard with us, if we packed up our desktop or something and we forgot it, or if we just don't feel comfortable using a keyboard, or if we physically can't use a keyboard in the conventional sense, the accessibility tools in Windows 7 gives us an option to actually make an on-screen keyboard and use that as if it was a normal keyboard. So I'll just go ahead and click on Start On-Screen Keyboard here. And we can see here that it brings up a fully, looks like a full keyboard. I can hover over any of the letters, and that'll act as my finger over the letter. I can click on that. I'm not typing anything here because there's no text field open. So I will go ahead and open up Notepad again. And I'll just go ahead and type my name. Now this works too for all the other tools on a keyboard such as backspace and enter, and then the shift options are also available for us here. And this is just important to know because if you're ever stuck without a keyboard, or if you ever just don't feel comfortable with typing in this way, or if it hurts your fingers or in any way, we do have an option here for a non-screen keyboard that will allow the same functionality and allow us to get stuff done on our computer and have fun with our computer. We can use it in ways we didn't think of before. So we've seen how to use Magnifier, we've seen how to initialize Narrator, and how to use the on-screen keyboard here. I'm going to talk about one more thing with you guys, but before I close on this window, I'm going to drag my mouse down and show you guys that if you're ever in the need for accessibility tools that I didn't cover here, there are more options that Ease of Access Center allows us. We can see here that we can optimize our computer for blindness, for visual displays, and we can make the keyboard easier to use and the mouse easier to use. And I do recommend kind of playing around with these tools and seeing if you can make your computing experience more personable, more enjoyable, and just easier to use for you. I think that's the important thing, is that everyone should be able to know that you can manipulate the computer to be your friend, and you don't have to be afraid of it. So I'm going to close that down, this Ease of Access Center. And the next thing I want to look at is actually in the control panel again. So I'll open up control panel again. But instead of going to the Ease of Access in here, I'm going to go to Appearance and Personalization. And I want to focus on making the system text larger, the font larger on the screen, so we might be able to read things a little bit better. You can see here, obviously, there's personalization, which is normally what people go to control panel for. We can change the theme, the desktop, other things like that. But I'm going to go to display here. And right now, I haven't reset my computer, so this isn't applied yet. But normally when you have, if you don't edit this, it'll be on the 100% default text size, which is just this normal text size. It'll be the default text size for whatever screen dimension you have. If ever you need to make this larger, it's saying, we can use magnifier as well, but you can also just click on make it medium. And this would be 125% of the normal text size. Now, in order to show this, I would have to actually restart my computer for this to take effect, but it will make the text size larger and make things a lot easier to read too. And this helps because, sometimes text is small and sometimes you need that boost. And together with this and magnifier, you'll be in good hands for this. I give you guys a lot of thanks for watching this video, watching this tutorial, and I hope you guys have good luck in trying to make the computer yours and making it more fun and enjoyable for you.